The Fox and the Hound.
Big Mama, the owl, sat on her perch, watching. She knew everything that went on in her corner of the forest. And today, something was different. First, there had been the sound of gunshots. Then a fox had run across the field, carrying a small bundle in her mouth. The fox gently set the bundle by a fence post and hurried off. Big Mama fluttered down to the fence, where she was joined by her friends, Boomer the woodpecker and Dinky the sparrow. Looking up at them was the baby fox. "You poor little fella," said Big Mama. "You're gonna need some caring for." As she gazed at the fox, she got an idea. The fence was part of a farm, and the farm belonged to Mrs. Tweed, a kindly old widow who lived by herself. Big Mama flew to Mrs. Tweed's clothesline and, with Dinky's help, lifted off some clothing. Mrs. Tweed came running after them, shouting, "Oh, you pesky birds! Will you come back here?" The birds dropped the clothing by the fence. When Mrs. Tweed picked it up, she found the baby fox underneath. "Well, bless my soul," she said. "I wonder where your mother is." At first, the fox was frightened. But when Mrs. Tweed took him inside and fed him, he began to feel right at home. "You're such a little toddler," cooed Mrs. Tweed. "In fact, that's what I'll call you, Todd." Mrs. Tweed didn't know it, but down the road there was another new arrival. Her neighbor, a hunter named Mrs.L, had brought home a puppy named Copper. Amos showed the puppy to old Chief, his hunting dog.
"Copper's just a little right now, but it'll grow.
Amos told Chief.
Someday, it'll be a fine hunting dog, just like you."
The next morning, Todd went outside to play. He spotted a butterfly and ran along after it toward Mrs.L's house. In Amos's yard, Copper looked up from his breakfast. He sniffed the breeze, then set out across the yard, his nose to the ground.
"Where do you think you're going?"
asked Chief. Copper said,
"I smell something different, something I've never smelled before."
Copper followed his nose across the yard, past the fence, and into a hollow log. When he looked up, Todd was gazing back at him.
"What are you doing?"
Todd asked.
"I'm on the trail of something,
said Copper.
and I think it's you."
The two animals spent the morning playing together, and as they tumbled in the grass, Todd grinned at Copper.
"You're my very best friend.
He said.
We'll always be friends, won't we?
Copper nodded and said,
Forever and ever."
When Todd came back the next day, Copper was tied to his doghouse with a rope.
"My master says I have to stay home,"
said Copper.
Then let's wait here.
Todd suggested. Todd heard old Chief snoring in his doghouse. With a mischievous grin, Todd scampered inside.
"I don't think that's such a good idea.
Copper told him.
Chief can get awfully cranky."
Just then, Chief's nose twitched, and he sat up with a start.
"It's a fox!"
he bellowed. As Copper looked on helplessly, Chief took off barking after Todd. He chased Todd around the chicken coop and past the house. Seeing them, Amos grabbed his rifle, hopped into his truck, and joined the hunt. As Todd raced down the road, he saw Mrs. Tweed driving and caught up with her, dodging bullets as he ran. "My goodness!" she gasped. "Todd!" Mrs. Tweed slammed on her brakes. When Amos pulled up behind her, she marched right up to him. "Amos Slade, you trigger-happy lunatic!" she said. "Give me that gun!" Snatching the rifle away from him, she shot his radiator full of holes. Amos glared at Mrs. Tweed.
"Your thieving fox was after my chickens,"
he said.
If I ever catch him on my property again, I'll blast him. And next time, I won't miss.
The days grew colder and summer turned to fall. One morning, Amos Slade packed up his truck for a long hunting trip. Putting Copper in the bag, Amos said,
It's about time old Chief and I told you about hunting.
Todd watched from the yard as Amos drove off, taking Todd's best friend with him. Months passed, and so did the cold weather. By the time spring arrived, Todd was no longer a baby. He was a strong young fox. Jinkie was amazed, saying, Hey, this can't be the scrawny little guy we found by the fence.
I like your new collar,
Boomer added.
but your bushy tail was even better.
Todd wasn't the only one who had changed. Copper had grown too, and he had learned how to hunt. In fact, he was such a good hunter that on the drive home from their trip, Amos moved old Chief to the back and gave Copper the seat of honor up front. That night, Todd went to visit Copper.
It's good to see you, Todd,
Said Copper.
but you really shouldn't be here. You're going to get us both into a lot of trouble.
We're still best friends, aren't we?
Asked Todd. Copper shook his head sadly.
Those days are over. I'm a hunting dog now.
Old Chief, who had been snoring nearby, sniffed the air in his sleep. Suddenly, he lunged at Todd, barking furiously. Hearing Chief, Amos came charging from the house with his rifle. He called to the dogs.
After him, boys!
Amos and Chief took off after Todd, with Copper close behind. Todd tried to escape across a train trestle, but Chief stayed right behind with him. Amos, looking on from below, cackled with delight.
Old Chief's got him on the run!
He told Copper. But as Chief closed in on Todd, a whistle blew and a headlight pierced the darkness. A train was coming right toward them. Todd ducked between the tracks and out of danger. But Chief was frozen with fear. At the last possible moment, he jumped, falling to the rocky stream below. Copper waded into the water.
Chief? You alright?
He asked. The old hunting dog was alive, but his leg was badly broken. As Copper looked up at the bridge, a low rumble started deep in his chest, turned into an angry growl.
Todd,
He vowed.
if it's the last thing I do, I'll get you for this.